What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology,
where Dusty gets higher than the people who actually believe in the spaghetti monster.
Hey, it's real.
Uh-huh.
Hold your strainers close, folks. You don't know when he's coming.
Just put them on top of your head.
See, told you we get higher than those guys. Oh, yeah. Tonight, we will be bringing you one of the most epic, most famous Norse sagas.
Just epic.
Just epic. It is, the gods are involved, but it's, unlike a lot of the ones we've told, it's not directly dealing with, the politics of Asgard and Jotunheim and all that. It's just, some real bad motherfucking Viking shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the Saga of the Volsungs. Or the Volsung Saga. Woo! Yes. It is about a whole family line. And we'll see how timing goes if we get to the whole family line today. But the last name in the line is going to be the one that sounds the most familiar, and the one who will probably have a spin-off short this Saturday, because it basically does the setup for Siegfried, the medieval Greek hero. Yeah, medieval German hero.
Nice. Yeah. Well, he's not just Germanic. He's also Norse, too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Well, his origins are in Norse.
His origins are everywhere.
Yeah, his origins are in Norway. But there's a very, from what I found, is there's three distinct splits. And there's the Norse version, which also seems like it was supposed to take place in Germany. There's the Germanic Norse version, which was from when the people of Germany were still into Norse mythology. And then there's the medieval Germanic version, where it doesn't tie into any mythology, to the point where even in the medieval version, Siegfried gets knighted. Which, that didn't exist back in those days. Yeah.
I mean, the names Brunhilde and then Brunhilde.
Brunhilde.
Those are also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of that in the first two versions, which I'm pretty much going to do them as one, but you get a lot of just Odin versus Wotan.
You said versus Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang.
Like,
Odin versus Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang forever.
God, that's a hard. Who would win?
Well, the Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Odin also.
But then Odin is also pretty much not nothing to fuck with. Yeah.
Odin promotes the Wu-Tang Clan.
I'm sure he does. He's probably their
biggest fan.
One of their fucking under the radar members. Odin Allfather? Yeah, that motherfucker secretly in the Wu-Tang Clan.
The only white guy in there.
Yeah, the only white guy. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Yeah, Allfather is spoken, motherfuckers. Yeah, so our story starts with a man named Siggy. Siggy! I like it too because it is such a tough Viking name, but it's a name if you heard that name going around now, that's, it's not nearly as tough.
You sound like a spaghetti noodle.
You're like, oh, are you a DJ?
No.
Oh, that sounds like a name you would give yourself as a DJ. Were your parents DJs? DJ Siggy Sig. Wah, 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 wah.
Nice. As it should be, I guess.
As it should be, yeah. But yeah, Siggy was the son of Odin, the member of the Wu-Tang Clan, as we had discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Odin the Allfather, and in a very weird, very Zeus-like move, Odin came down and went and banged a human chick. And so he had a demigod child named Siggy. Siggy was like one of the baddest hunters in all of the world and one of the best warriors. Yeah, he'd pew pew with his bow. He had some axey stuff going on
With his bow.
with the axes, doing Viking things. He probably had a fat beard because that's what they did.
So did Odin.
Yeah, so did Odin. It's genetic.
Yeah.
He had awesome.
He was born with
from
a
the
beard.
get-go. I will say the Volsung family from the get-go had good beard genetics in their line. I mean, Odin Allfather is your father. You got beard genetics.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, so one day, and this is I'm gonna say this too before I continue with the story. This is the most burly Viking saga I have ever heard. Like, yeah, everyone is Viking to the fullest Viking they could be. Like, there's no pussyfooting around shit. Like,
basic Neanderthal shit.
oh yeah, they're rugged. They're rugged. They're real rugged people. And I mean, a good example is so this is the start of the family. Siggy, the great hunter. And he goes out on a hunt one day with a thrall of Scotty named Brady.
A thrall?
A thrall.
That's
He's a slave.
Slave, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And but he's one of Scotty's slaves.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so they go out hunting, and Brady just so happens to out hunt Siggy and do a better job than him. Siggy gets pissed off that Brady did better than him and murders him right there in the woods.
Well, you can't be better than the Allfather's son.
Yeah.
Right?
And then he takes...
He's got a lot to look up to.
Yep. And then he takes the meat from both of their kills back to the village and tells everyone that while they were out, Brady was killed by a boar. Totally unrelated to anything with the axes.
So he just fell down a hole, guys.
He just fell down. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Call out Lassie.
Call out Lassie. Yeah, where's Lassie?
Lassie.
Yeah.
I'm Brandy.
Find Brady. Brady's stuck in a well. What's wrong, Lacey? Is Brady stuck in a well? Oh, God, no. He got murdered?
Is that an arm you brought back?
Is that an arm? Yeah. And that's actually pretty much what happened, because they set out directly to go find Brady, because they were like, well, he died. Like, why'd you leave his body out there, asshole? Yeah. Like, he deserves a burial.
That's my fucking slave.
And they went out.
Pay top dollar for that.
Yeah, top dollar slave. And they went out and found that pretty evidently Brady had been murdered by an axe.
Clearly.
Clearly.
You can't mistake that, you know what I mean? There's spears, there's an axe hacking.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if it's one of those where, like, the axe is still hanging out of him, and Siggy's like, oh, God, I should have cleaned up better. I threw some leaves on him. I didn't think you guys would come out looking.
He's just not that good of an axeman as he likes to think. Yeah. And he had to, like,
he got it stuck.
Hacks.
He's like, fuck.
Fuck, where's a bone saw when you need one invented?
Where's a bone saw?
When you need one invented.
Yeah. When you need one invented, yeah. Yeah. So, when they came back, everyone was fucking furious at Siggy. They were very upset that he had just murdered a slave in cold blood, and they banished him from the land. Yeah.
That's the son of Odin. Do you really want to banish him?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, also, Siggy, how could you stoop so low?
Yeah, that's a pretty low move to just kill a slave. Yeah. You don't need to do that.
You could have just told everyone you wanted, like, Brandy to have a good time and, like, show people his worth, you know?
Yeah.
I prophesized that he would be great one day, too.
Yeah. It was all me.
Let him win.
So I let him win, yeah. So in killing Brady, he made many enemies. And among them were all of his brothers and brother-in-laws. Yeah.
Shit.
But when he got kicked out, he got lucky because Odin, his papa, found him in the woods and led him to the place that would become his new kingdom.
The promised
where
land.
he founded, basically their promised land, which for all intents and purposes sounds a lot like Germany. Like, this is them trying to explain, like, how the Norse went to Germany. It was Siggy who went down there with groups of people and
just fucking took
over. Yeah, because it also says at some point that there's reference in this story, which is crazy because I really had to look it up. There's reference in this story to the Huns, which is totally from a different time period than the Vikings. But because it was taken after, like, the sources that they mention, which probably could have been the Huns, because they do talk about, like, these armies coming into Germany, which is what the Huns did. And, like, Siggy's ancestors basically fighting them off.
The Romans and the Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And fighting off the Romans. Yeah. But so, yeah, Siggy got old in his new kingdom, and eventually his brothers-in-laws came and murdered him in his castle.
Shit, sounds like the past.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like it's going to be a horrible repeating cycle. Yeah. But he had a son over this time. Son named actually, I think he had he had like 6 or 7 kids. Okay. Yeah. His main son, though, Riri, as we will call him, succeeded Siggy, and he became basically a better king than Siggy was. He was braver, he was better at combat, and he even took to avenging his father and going out and killing all of his uncles at a young age, just to kind of solidify who he was.
Well, that's the thing with kids, right? They're supposed to be better than their parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At always. Like, and this has been going on, as you can tell, even in the mythology times.
Yeah. you have to fix what your folks fucked up. That's the number one rule.
And you're just considered a disappointment when you fail to hit the level.
Yeah.
So Siggy set the bar real low, it looks like.
He set the bar real low. All you have to do is not murder a slave and get kicked out and then get killed by your brother-in-law.
And then start your own kingdom as well.
And then start your own
kingdom. He did have some good.
He did. He was a real self-starter.
Yeah.
So that's that. We got to give Siggy credit
PC.
for that. Yeah.
Nice. Just going to say it because you were looking at me like you wanted to say he was a PC. I guess I can see him as a dude, bro.
Yeah, bro.
No, actually, he can't be because he killed the slave, right?
He killed the slave, yeah. You would do that if you were PC.
Rear's probably PC.
Yeah.
His dad was a stoner.
His dad was the stoner, yeah. But, yeah, Rear eventually succeeded in building a pretty vast empire. He fought wars against all of his neighbors and took them out, and eventually he had a nice little spot carved out for the family.
Did he start the shit himself, or did they start shit with him?
It kind of sounds like he Vikinged all the way. Just like his dad. Like, he was like, okay, I killed my uncles. And they're like, now we get peace. East. And he's like, no, we're going to go kill that fucking guy now. Yeah.
All right. So he's like, every year, he's like, let's raid north. Let's raid northeast. Let's raid northwest. Yeah. Let's raid east.
Until he carved out this kingdom, which was supposed to be, I guess, a good chunk of Germany. But yeah, the problem is that he and his wife could not have kids. Aww. They were having a ton of trouble, and he could not produce an heir. And
he
so,
got some issues.
Desperately wanting a son.
Because I'm sure he'd try to bang other women to make sure it wasn't just his wife.
He's a Viking. I mean, he's out there raiding and pillaging and doing Viking stuff, I'm sure.
So it's definitely him. He's in. I got it.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely him. Yeah. Because, I mean, it sounds like they fixed it pretty quick with his wife, too. Because Riri prayed to the gods, and particularly the goddess Frigg, the wife and consort of Odin.
Oh, yeah, she's badass.
Mm-hmm. And she saw it and took pity on them and asked for a giant or a golden apple from the giant Hrimnir. Now
you see why I have such a problem reading these, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So a crow came and dropped off the apple, and right away,
nice of it.
Yeah, it was a nice little crow gift. And right away, Riri knew what he was supposed to do. He took the apple to his wife and fed it to her. And
that's all.
Yep. Soon after, she was pregnant. It was full of somebody else's
He didn't
semen.
slice it and lay it across his penis.
Slice it, lay it. Ooh. Yeah.
Sounds like something you would do.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, you really want to get pregnant that bad?
You really want to get
try
pregnant?
this.
Let me put this on the
Try
tip of my peen
this.
real quick. It's an apple peen.
Now you're supposed to chew on the apple, not the apple.
And then the gods brought him a baby's arm holding an apple.
I just thought you would want a little savory with sweet.
Yeah, a little sweet with the savory. Yeah. But, his wife got pregnant. And
congratulations.
Yeah, while she was pregnant, Riri had another war to fight, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So he went
next
off.
Summer, next raiding.
Yeah, he went off to fight. But while he was off, he fell ill and died.
Oh.
Yeah. Riri's wife was pregnant for the next 6 fucking years.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, 6 years.
Now, was she gigantic, like, at the start, too? Or did she, like, you know how you are when you're in, like, in the first trimester, you're pretty much, you don't notice because you're kind of flat still.
Mm-hmm.
Most women. So she, like, flat for, like, 3 years and then starts progressing?
I'm guessing
further?
not.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she finally gave birth. Or no, actually, she didn't give birth. She started dying.
Oh, shit.
And she asked them to cut the baby out of her womb.
Why wouldn't you cut it out at 9 months?
Yeah. And thus, Volsung was born. Okay. Volsung, when he was born, was already 6 years in the womb. But he was as grown as a teenager.
What the fuck?
He was the size of a teenager. And the last thing he did was kneel down and kiss his mother. And
how the fuck do you fit a teenager?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like by the end, it had to have looked
ribs would be crushed.
pretty
Her
horrible.
Intestines wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't connect. There's nowhere to save it.
Yeah, there's nothing. That's why I was saying, like, it's just, by that point, it had to have been a pretty horror show type of picture. Yeah.
It's like if you were having 25 kids.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I've seen like the 9 or 10, but you know.
Well, also,
Holy
too, there's
shit,
another
still.
thing. There's another thing specifically about Volsung. Also, to remember, it's like he was the age of like a teenager. But they also constantly mention that he was a giant of a man. So even for a teenager, it's not like he's a small teenager.
Oh shit! Is this?
He's like a
cool?
big teenager.
Are we going into the Celtics?
Yeah.
The Celtics love their giants.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty close. Because yeah, there's some big motherfuckers in this family. And so yeah, we have Volsung, who was now born an orphan.
Interesting.
Because if you think about it, his father died at war, right?
Yep.
And then his mother
just died herself.
Just died too.
So he's just taken over the kingdom with no fucking clue what to do.
Yes.
Awesome.
But honestly, he got lucky because a lot of people wanted to take the kingdom from him. But they
give me your kingdom, bitch.
They ended up not.
And your lunch money.
Because of how fucking huge he was.
Yeah, we don't want to fucking
it's like he's straight out of the womb.
You're 6 years old, you say?
Full beard, just fucking ripped.
6 years old?
I am Volsung, and I will be king of my peoples.
Actually, he's not even a year old. Yeah,
he's not even technically.
Born.
Yeah.
I'm
Fuck. 2 months old, and yet I am covered in the blood of my enemies.
I drink beer and mead.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want some milk? Give me mead. Or give me death. But, yeah, so...
fucking 0 years old and has, like, people fucking coming at him.
Yeah, yeah, he's just born, fresh out the womb. But he ended up
strongest womb baby I've ever heard.
Yeah, he ended up becoming the king of what they called Hunland.
Holland.
Hunland? Yeah.
Which is now Holland.
Holland? Oh, yeah, I guess that is.
No, I don't know.
No,
I was just
probably,
sorry.
It's probably
That's
somewhere
sarcasm.
in Germany.
You look it up.
You look it up, motherfucker.
This is your story.
Yeah. I ain't your Jamie, Joe Rogan.
You get back to them on this.
But yeah, so he built a pretty fatty fucking palace. But in the middle of the palace was a humongous oak tree called Branstock. It was a tree burly enough that it had a name.
Dude, that's gotta be Yggdrasil.
Yeah, and he
don't
built.
Fucking name a tree like that.
Yeah,
It's got meaning.
And and I'm gonna have the picture up on like our YouTube and stuff, but there's old pictures of it where it's like it is a pretty fucking badass looking long house with a giant tree.
Tits.
It does have tits, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
it does. Oh, that painting totally has tits.
Screaming face at the top.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh wow. Yeah.
With a long. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to post these photos, man.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get some pictures for this. But yeah, and if you're watching this on YouTube and you're looking at pictures, then I'm probably gonna have some silly pictures of me looking like an idiot right now. But yeah, so once he had this huge fucking badass palace built and had his kingdom going, a man named Hrymnir sent his daughter Hildjad to marry Volsung. And Volsung apparently was pretty stoked with it because he decided to marry her, and the two of them would have 10 mighty sons and a daughter.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Her vagina, they probably just slide out at that point.
Yeah. I know, by number 10. Yeah. And these are Viking. These are Volsung boys,
by
too.
Number 3, I hear it slides out. If you're not exercising, that's what I hear. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would you tell me this?
Yeah.
What do you expect from me?
So yeah, all 10 of his sons were badass Vikings, and they all went on to have their own stories, which I didn't research. They're not mentioned here. So we may come across them in the future. You never know. But the important ones were his daughter, Signy, and her twin brother, Sigmund.
Well, those are probably the only two I would remember.
Yeah.
It's the only girl he's got.
Yeah, the only girl. It's the only twins.
And the only twins, yeah.
Yeah. And they would have...
twins at the end, too.
Twins at the end, yeah. And they would have a very close relationship. Some would say too close at some points in their relationship. Lannister? A little Lannister-y at some points.
Shit.
But
it happens.
But yeah, so one day, Sigurd, king of Gothland, which I want to go to Gothland. I feel like Gotham would be the capital of Gothland. Oh, yeah. But he came and asked Volsung for his daughter's hand in marriage. Volsung agreed, but Signy
get this bitch out of my
did
house.
not want to marry the dude.
Uh-oh.
Because
she's too in love with her brother.
Well, she also knew him to be a treacherous, murderous fuck.
Ooh.
And she did not like the idea of... And it's funny, too, because Signy is team fucking Volsung family, ride or die all day. She's like, even from the get-go, she's like, I don't want him to be part of the Volsung family. He doesn't have a right to. He's not good enough.
Oh, she's a real Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, she's like, he doesn't get to be part of this family. Look at that guy. Fuck that guy. He's a pussy. Yeah.
Yeah, because he Kim Kardashian saying that.
Yeah. But Volsung didn't really give a fuck. He's not in the... He's a badass Viking dude, not in the habit of listening to what his daughter has to say about words.
Yeah, it's a woman.
Yeah.
That's how men look at their women back then.
Yeah.
Totes.
But so they decided they would be married, and they had the feast in Volsung's great hall, with the big ash tree in the middle. And during the feast,
Fuck you, Daddy.
old man fucking Odin came down, one eye, hat, cloak, all of that shit, walked through the wedding, and jammed a great sword into the fucking tree up to its hilt.
No tits?
Yes, the titty tree.
Oh, shit.
Titty tree! Yeah.
Where did he?
The poor tree. That's why it looks like it's screaming. The motherfucker just stabbed it. Yeah, but he told them that it would be a gift for the person who could draw it out of the tree.
That's your fucking great grandson's fucking wedding, and
yeah, and he's just showing up.
Great granddaughter.
Well, he also, it's like kind of like the Thor's hammer thing. Like
Zeus steps in from time to time too.
As you can see, he knows who's going to, he knows who's going to be able to pull it.
He's got that chair.
And and so,
of course he knows.
Yeah. And so during the feast, everyone tried to pull the sword out. And the sword actually had a name. It was one of those badass swords. Its name was Gram or Balmung in German.
My Graham Cracker.
My Graham Cracker sword! And it had the power to make the owner win all of his battles.
I was going to say white.
White. They're all German. They're all pretty white already. And everyone tried, especially Siggeir, because, it was his wedding.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting the princess, so he thought for sure, I'm going to come in big dick swinging. That's my sword. That's my sword. And, nope. It was only Sigmund who was able to pull the sword out. And Siggeir got pissed off by this because he thought the sword should be a wedding gift from Odin to him. So he offered to buy it from Sigmund. But Sigmund wasn't going to do it. I mean, if Odin gives you a sword, and if Odin gives you Excalibur, you don't fucking sell it. You don't pawn Excalibur,
That's true.
Yeah.
Story would have been a whole lot different.
It would have been a whole lot different, yeah.
He clearly didn't want any... What was their glory? Glory was their thing? So he didn't want any glory.
Yeah. And, so at that point, Siggeir became determined to destroy the entire Volsung family. He wanted to wipe the Volsung family off of the face of the earth.
Sounds kind of overdoing it.
Yeah. But like Signy said before she married him, she didn't want to marry him because he was a murderous, treacherous piece of shit. But no one listened to her, so now that murderous, treacherous piece of shit.
What do you think, Daddy?
Yeah. So he started setting to some betrayal. And eventually he invited Volsung and the entire family to come to a feast. And Signy warned them right away not to go to the feast.
Yeah.
But when they showed up, they decided to go anyway. And when they showed up, they were ambushed in the woods. And Volsung was killed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He didn't have his sword with him. So he wasn't able to...
Why wouldn't you take your fucking sword?
Or no, that's right. Fucking, what's his name? Sigmund didn't have his sword with him. So he didn't, they didn't win the battle.
You fucking...
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you take the fucking Odin's? You're supposed to take it everywhere.
I know, you should take that everywhere. That would be like...
show it off to people.
That would be all I would take places.
That is how you get your name gone.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, like a real dick...
IQ of 68.
Yeah. Jeez. Like a real dick, Siggeir had all of Signy's brothers bound to trees in chains. And every night, a she-wolf would come and kill and devour one of them.
All right.
And then on the 9th night, Signy managed to sneak away and come to Sigmund, who was the only brother left. All of his brothers had died.
That's so funny.
While he was chained there watching it for 9 nights. And she rubbed honey on his face and in his mouth.
Put it on his penis.
And put some on his penis. I would hope not. That would be horrible. But so the goal was, now that he was covered in honey, when the wolf came, instead of biting him, she went to lick the honey.
Yeah, you could have just put it on your peanut.
You could, yeah, actually, yeah, that some peanut butter for the downstairs and some honey for the upstairs.
You got that toe fetish.
Yeah. But so when it came and started licking out of his mouth, he bit down on its tongue and ripped its tongue out with his teeth, killing it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then
have you ever gotten so close to a dog's face and they accidentally lick you inside?
Yeah, exactly. Just imagine just sitting there, mouth open, waiting.
My vengeance is coming.
Oh god! Oh god! It's so nasty.
Would you swallow some so it would go down further?
Yeah, you got honey all over you too.
First the wolf cleans out the nostrils. Have you ever had a dog fucking stick its tongue up your nose?
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy too. That's some weird.
I've got caught by a giraffe one time. That was the weirdest. The giraffe nose and the.
But I had buffalo tongue.
Buffalo tongue.
Well, they were mainly licking the window through the drive-through thing. But still, that's some fucking weird shit. You need to smoke that long.
So, where were we? Oh yeah, after that, Sigmund somehow managed to get out of his chains. Which seems weird to me, that he would have to kill the wolf if he could just get out of his chains. But he managed to get out of his chains. And
so I don't imagine that the wolf would have just keeled over and died right there. I'm sure it would have took off for a minute.
Oh yeah, it would take off. It'd be making all kinds of noises. That's a pretty horrible way to go with having your tongue ripped out.
Maybe he's just stopped eating for so long he was starting to shrivel.
He's all skinny now.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm skinny.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But
Opposite Captain America.
Opposite Captain America. He did a reverse Captain America. But then he went to a cave in the woods to recover. Signy eventually came up and she found her brother alive, and together they plotted to destroy Siggeir and his men. We will take them down. Yeah. So over the years, apparently it was taking years for Sigmund to recover and truly plot his plan.
Well, how did he fucking get hurt? He was only starving for 9 days.
Yeah, he was only there for 9 days. It doesn't seem like he really would have needed that long to recover.
Right. Really?
It seems more like he just took a decade off. Because...
just camped out in that cave?
Just camped out in that cave. Built a cabin.
Okay.
Yeah. But Signy, over that time, Signy had several children with Siggeir. And when her eldest son would reach the age of 11... she would send him to her brother Sigmund in the woods to train to destroy Siggeir. Because she was all into that ultimate vengeance shit.
Totes.
But the problem is, they basically had a test. I forget if it was a rat or if it was a snake that he would put in a bag of flour. Sigmund would put in a bag of flour. And then he would tell the kid to go get flour. And the first son's reaction was he freaked out and he said, "No, I can't. There's something in the bag." And so
I think I remember that one, and they were talking about a poisonous snake.
Mm-hmm. And so Sigmund basically told Signy that he wasn't going to ever be cut out to go kill his father. If he can't even best a snake in a bag, he's not going to be worth shit. And so Signy, in a very strange move, told Sigmund to kill him. And so Sigmund killed her son.
What?
And then, the following year, Signy's second son hit 11. So she sent him again to Sigmund. But it was the same reaction. He was afraid of whatever was in the bag, and he wouldn't even open it. So Signy told Sigmund to fucking kill him again. Mm-hmm. So he'd killed another one of the sons. And
some women are kind of like that.
Yeah. Eventually, she realized that no son that came to her from Siggeir would ever be worth a damn. or badass enough to exact the vengeance that she wanted. So she went to a beautiful witch and asked for help. So she got the witch to switch bodies with her, basically, or transform her so that she looked like the witch and the witch looked like her.
Okay.
And for 3 days, the witch went back and banged her husband.
Oh.
Yeah. But her, in the witch's body, went straight to fucking Sigmund and stayed with her brother for 3 nights.
That's fucking...
Yeah, that's where they get real Lannister with it. Not only that, the plotting vengeance in addition to the, like... Yeah. But yeah, so they met back on the 3rd day, and they switched back into the normal form, and she was pregnant. With the child of Sigmund. And she eventually gave birth to him, and it was a boy named Sigvoldi. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, when Sigvoldi reached the age of 11, Signy sent him off to Sigmund, who had no fucking clue, by the way, that it was his sister. He thought it was just a witch.
I'm thinking some old decrepit woman.
Oh no! There's pictures. They show pictures of the witch. They go out of their way to mention too that she was a hot witch.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay,
she was a hot witch.
No wonder. Okay. I was like, how could it be turned on by something like that?
He's like, what? I don't know what I was doing, man. And just one day I was sitting here and a witch showed up and she was like, let's bang for 3 days. And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything for the last decade. So
I just killed my last nephew.
Yeah, I just killed my nephew. So could totally use a pick-me-up right now.
Sure. Do you do hand stuff?
Do you do hand stuff? Yeah. But yeah, so Sigmund thought that Sinfolti was Sigur's son. But still, he went on with his normal training thing. But the difference was Sinfolti was a bad motherfucker. And when that bag wiggled, he beat that fucking bag until that bag didn't wiggle anymore. And then brought back the dead snake and said, there's a snake in your flour. Just casually, without even making it like it was a challenge or thinking it was a big deal. Just like, there was a snake in your flour. I killed it.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Good enough.
And so Sigmund knew. Nephew. Sigmund knew that he was going to be Sunfew. Sigmund knew that he was going to be the one to help him exact revenge. And so he trained him from that point on to be a badass warrior. Oh wait, yeah, that's the other thing too. By 11, Sinfolti had already grown to a man in size and strength. Yeah, so he's already on that Volsung track where it's like he's got a full beard by 11, and he's like, I've got kids to feed.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. But they got together, Sigmund and Sinfolti, and they fucking rolled on that motherfucker who had wronged their family. They went, and at first they tried to use stealth to breach his palace, to breach Sigur's palace, but they were discovered. And...
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, and Signy was with them when they were discovered. And she ordered her brother to kill the last of her children to Stiger, because they were the ones who had caught them.
Okay.
But Sigmund was kind of done killing his nephews. So he wasn't going to do it. Yeah. But
no, these two idiots have to run the place. I'm not coming back.
Yeah. But Sinfolti had no qualms about it, because also she explained to them that
they're not related.
And that he is...
They're not really their brothers.
And basically, I understand Sigmund there, because he just got a lot of bombs dropped on him.
Well, technically, they're our brothers, because mom.
Because the mom, yeah, they're half brothers. But yeah, he still murdered all of his siblings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just to please his mom, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, yeah, just to please the mom. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. After that, they got caught and entombed, and then cut their way out of the tomb with the magic sword, which was kind of odd. They just cut through stone to get out of the side of a
weapon,
stone.
right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then after that, they burned Sigurd's palace while him and his men slept inside.
Fair enough.
Signy came out and basically told them goodbye. But then, because she had ordered all of her own children to death, and her vengeance was finally exacted, she just went back into the castle and burned. That's all she had left, really, was her vengeance going for her. I'm done. I'm over this.
I don't want to keep going. I got nothing more epic going on.
Nothing more epic. Yeah.
Jesus. Hopeless life.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sigmund returned home with Sinfolti, where he had to drive out another king who had taken over while they were away.
Now I was here, bro.
That's funny too, because it is totally that Viking times where it's like
they come in for battle.
Yeah,
no one
like you leave for a week, and it's just like the show Vikings. Like, we're going raiding, and the second they leave, it's like, we're taking over this fucking kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, I was gone for 2 hours. How have you established an entire new fucking monarchy? It's a dynasty. I'm the third of the line.
Well, you technically waited 22 years. At least.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, because he was gone for all those years, just sitting in his cabin in the woods. Yeah. Just,
because he waited for her son to turn 11.
And then her next son to turn,
And then their child.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was there for 22 fucking years.
At least.
No, I bet he comes back and he's like, how could someone take over my kingdom? And they're like, we waited a decade, dude.
3 decades.
30 years. We needed someone to fucking rule the place. This guy's not even committed to it. He'll give you the seat back. No, he has to die.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They reestablished their mighty kingdom. Sigmund got married again, even though he's old as fuck at this point. He's an old man.
Gotta find love and all.
Gotta find love. And he became the father of Helgi and Hammond. Yeah. Okay. At age 15. And this is just a short kind of on Helgi and Hammond right here. At age 15, Helgi fought many wars in his own kingdom. He earned the name Helgi Hundingsbane when he killed a guy named Hunding and his sons. He went on
remind him of the family he
murdered. To remind him of the family he murdered. Yeah.
Okay.
He went on to marry a woman named Sigrun, daughter of King Hogni. Oh yeah, and Sigrun was probably a Valkyrie.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about the other one?
Borghild.
Wait, what happened to the other one? Just Helgi? That was just information on Helgi?
That was.
What about the other one?
They didn't give me shit about Hammond.
He didn't do shit.
They didn't give me shit about Hammond.
His IQ was lower than everyone.
Yeah. And Hammond, he kind of just stood in a corner. Yeah. Oh, okay. Borghild was jealous of her stepson Sinjalfi's prowess, and she wanted to kill him.
So his new lady's mom,
yeah,
didn't like that he married
his new stepmom, because she married Sigmund.
I wonder how Madonna's boyfriend's mom feels. She's like a quarter of her age. I have nothing against that. I don't give a shit. That's not my business.
But so Borghild tried to murder. Similar feelings.
I'm trying to help the audience connect with you.
Connect with it's just like Madonna. Yeah. Sigmund. Borghild tried to poison them. So she had a feast, and she kept trying to offer Sinfolti cups of poison mead. Mm-hmm. But Sigmund kept stealing them. And Sigmund happened to be fucking immune to poison.
Well,
So he
thank
put
God.
down like 4 cups of poison. And then
You
eventually
lucky motherfucker.
one of the cups got to Sinfolti. And he drank the 3rd mug and died.
Oh,
Mhm.
he tried so hard
He tried.
without
so
even
hard.
knowing.
Yeah. I know. He's just like, I keep stealing his beer. He's my son. My beer first, bitch. Yeah. But yes, Borghild was banished for poisoning, which is they didn't like poisoning at all. And a cool little side note is that Sigmund took Sinfolti's body out to the woods to bury him.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to cross a river and was met by a ferryman who happened to be Odin in disguise. And the ferryman said he could only take one person across at a time. And he offered to take the body first. And when he put the body on the ferry, Odin took off into the mist and the ferry never came back.
Oh shit!
Because-
I lost the body.
Yeah, I
guys.
lost the body.
I don't know if they made it across. Maybe they fell downstream. I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening, guys.
I guess I used the wrong word because we're talking about Norse shit. He had to get a ferry to the other side of the fjord.
Oh,
To the fjord! But yeah, it was...
again, did he get washed out to sea? Did
Did
his
you-
fucking little raft come
What
apart?
happened? Yeah. And that's probably the true story behind it, is the ferry just flipped, and he's like, it must have been Odin personally taking my son to Valhalla. The ferryman's just out there kicking like, no, help me! I'm drowning! Oh, yeah. Sigmund, after that, sought another wife. Sigmund just slinging dick all over.
I keep spreading.
You gotta keep spreading.
It's back then, man.
Yeah, he fell in love with Hjordis, which is
Curtis.
a very, very weird name. I could see no version where that name just rolls off the tongue, all sweet and feminine. What's your name? Hjordis. Oh, so juicy, yeah. Yeah, she was the daughter of King Emily. But yeah, basically Sigmund had to woo her away from a bunch of other dudes, and because he ended up wooing her, a war broke out between all of the other suitors. Sigmund and Emily, the King Emily, were winning all of the battles, but according to the Norns, it was Sigmund's day to die.
I think your King Emily is Eilimi.
Eilimi. Yeah, that makes way more sense.
Just
Hi guys, I'm King Emily. King is a general neutral term.
poor King Eilimi.
King Eilimi. But yeah, the problem was Sigmund couldn't be defeated.
Of course not. He's got that sword.
He's got that fucking sword.
How
yeah.
could he?
So, because of this, Odin personally had to come down to the battlefield. And the plan was basically that Sigmund and Emily were to lose the battle. But in addition to that, not only was it fated that Sigmund was supposed to die, but Sigmund and Emily were supposed to lose the battle, and his city was to be sacked. And his daughter was to be taken. And it was all what the Norns had said was supposed to happen. And so, in the middle of the battle, Odin has to turn his attention to the fact that Sigmund cannot be hurt while he has a sword. So Odin has to come down with Gungnir to personally seek out Sigmund and break the sword. And when Sigmund sees Odin, he knows right away what is up. That, his time has come, his life is over, but he's not going to go out like that.
Fuck no,
So he
you
fucking fights Odin.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
epic battle.
Epic battle. But because it's Odin, he swings at Odin, and Odin just blocks with Gungnir, and it fucking shatters the sword. Yeah. Fisticuffs, yeah. And then Odin takes off and leaves him there basically to die. Now that he doesn't have the sword, he's no longer a threat. But watching this whole
move.
series of battles and feeling for these people a lot was one of the Valkyries, namely Odin's favorite Valkyrie, Brunhilde.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, and seeing what was happening, Brunhilde came down and she basically took the wife who was pregnant with a son and Sigmund and his sword, so that Sigmund could say goodbye before he died. Because I think the way they make it sound like is a piece of the sword probably got stuck in him. Because
Okay.
after he gets hit, there's
Like,
no getting back up after that. Yeah. But he tells her to keep the pieces of his sword and save them so that his son can reforge them. Because his son will one day use that sword to do grand and glorious things.
Oh, shit.
Mhm. And then he dies.
Oh. Poor guy. Well,
Poor
this
guy.
is definitely Norse.
Definitely Norse mythology. Like I said, there's a lot of Viking shit. A lot of Viking shit going on. But yes, so after that, the wife who is pregnant takes off. And she...
Saved by Brunhilde.
Well, she was saved by Brunhilde, but Brunhilde, you know...
Dropped her off somewhere.
She had to go back to work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So basically, they took off, and Brunhilde, when she got back, was told by Odin that she had done wrong. You know,
That's
she
so
wasn't
bitch.
supposed to do that. The Norns had decided, and, you know, basically, the pregnant wife was supposed to die, and the child wasn't supposed to be born.
Uh-oh.
But the child did get born, because the wife made it to safety.
Uh-oh.
And that child would be known as Sigurd.
Ah, shit.
Who was the top Viking hero of all times, and is the man who spawned off into Siegfried. If you've ever played some, what is it? Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
You might have seen
him and
Siegfried before. Him and his big fucking sword. Graham. Yeah.
It is Graham, isn't it?
It's Graham, yeah.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, in addition to that, Brunhilde was punished.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Odin decided that the punishment was going to be that he was going to just throw her down onto Earth, strip away her immortality, and any man who comes across her has rights to her.
Uh-oh.
Basically.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah. But she, I think it was her and I want to say Freya or Frigg that pled with him to not do that, to give her something more honorable. And she was his favorite Valkyrie.
Yeah.
So he obliged her. And instead of putting her where any man could have his way with her, he did set the rule that the first man to find her gets to marry her, gets to be with her. But he put her on top of a mountain and surrounded the mountain with thorn bushes. And then encased the top with a ring of fucking fire.
So Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty, yeah.
All right.
And that's the other thing. And he covered her in her shield, draped her armor over her, and put her to sleep. And she sat on top of the hill asleep forever. And if you want the full Sleeping Beauty reference here, in the Germanic version, which we'll talk about in the next episode when we get into Sigurd and Siegfried, in the Germanic version, there's versions where the dragon guarded her.
Oh,
It wasn't a separate part of his story. It was all to get the princess. It was straight up Sleeping Beauty 100%.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Except for fuck Prince Charming, because Sigurd had way better hair.
Yeah, okay.
And a beard.
I'm pretty sure they had a French. French version.
French smenge. Look at that crew cut he was rocking. Give me those golden locks.
Like Travis Fimmel just fucking coming down.
Oh, yeah. Some Fabio hair just blowing in the wind majestically.
Young Ragnar, yet with old Ragnar's beard.
Yeah, beard's like a motherfucker. So, yeah, folks, we are going to call that stop right now.
Come back for part 2.
Oh, yeah, come back for part 2, where we will talk about the life of Sigurd, the most epic Viking hero that there ever was. Direct, and how he connects to history, through the sons of Ragnar, because he is the grandfather of the sons of Ragnar, who are actually historical figures.
Yeah.
I mean, him historically being their grandfather is not, that's not necessarily historical, but if you follow the sagas, he is their grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, we will get into the medieval Germanic myth of Siegfried, the dragon slayer. So, yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Bring your fire retardant gear, because fire retardant gear, because we're going to be getting into a lot of dragons on the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Roar.
Wow.
Roar. Yeah. Sources, timelessmyths.com, Britannica.com.
Always a classic.
Always a classic. And
just double check your shit.
double check your shit. Always got to double check. Encyclopedia has been my jam since I was little. So I love having the Britannica website to just look at, because I used to just fucking geek out on encyclopedias.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a YouTube show by the Historical Figures channel called Norse Gods and Legends Volume 3, where they cover the Volsung Saga and the myth of Siegfried. And it's super old school, so if you look it up, be prepared, because
fall the fuck asleep.
Oh yeah, he's got that old school sleepy man voice. He's got that sleepy man teacher voice. Today we will be talking about the myth of Siegfried.
Oh god.
How am I falling asleep? This dude's talking about fucking slaying dragons.
I know.
Yeah. I love one big note from this one that I love too is the thing I didn't know before with Brunhilde, because I had only heard the German version where it's basically she's Sleeping Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whoa, the damsel in distress. She's a fucking Valkyrie. She ain't in no distress.
She sounds like a badass to me.
Yeah, she is totally fine. Yeah.
Odin's favorite? Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Odin's favorite badass warrior chick. And even when we get to the versions of
at all when you were describing her.
Yeah. When we get to the versions of like what even the medieval version of what it took to get to her.
Uh-huh.
It's like she still wasn't a damsel, because a lot of the things in order to marry her required you to be able to beat her in things, like a boulder throwing contest.
Okay.
Like ain't no damsel throwing boulders.
Like that one chick from the Greek.
Yeah. Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
Hot
But I get to cut
Atlanta.
your head off if you lose.
Yeah. Ha, you lost.
Prepare to die.
Oh, yep. Thanks everybody for listening. Be sure to tune in for this Saturday's episode where we finished the story.
Till then, just like,
follow, subscribe, tell your friends,
comment on it,
shout our
Give us
name
some
from the
word.
rooftops.
Woo.
Yeah.
Kimbo, and Just Dusty.
High mythology. Yeah. Dress like a minotaur. Yeah.
Gonna scare a lot of people. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
The wrong
Don't do
time.
that. Yeah. Just remember, we're all two-legged centaurs.
I feel like we're all a little fragile from the COVID.
We're all a little fragile. No one needs a minotaur. Yeah.
Too soon, dude.
It's too soon for this,
Too
man.
soon. You gotta wait another 5,000 years.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.